everyone, Liz the Artificer here, back for my second Flosstube episode. I did release a live stream I did on the channel of me doing some mini painting, just to see how that would go, see if any people were interested. I did have a bunch of people drop by from my D&D groups, which was really fun. But if people are interested in me doing more live streams and then putting them up afterwards, I definitely want to try and do some cross-stitch ones, but I currently stitch on a hoop and move it around a lot, and I'm not very good at sitting still. I have some energy in me. Anyway, yeah, second video, I'm getting a bit more excited and decided to put a little bit more time and effort. Not that I didn't put effort into the last one, but as you notice, I have excellent lighting right now, because this is the kind of house that just has some big softbox lights in it that we bought for cheap, because we wanted to have them in the house when we wanted to have good lighting. I also have bought some minor editing software, not Final Cut Pro, which is the Adobe editing software. They have like a minor version that I'm wanting to give a try, so hopefully I have some movie magic. Yeah, I'm definitely going to make myself look like an idiot there. That's absolutely what I'm going to do. But also hopefully cut out some of my more rambly bits when I decide they're not good, and also so you don't have to watch me adjust my glasses constantly. That should be helpful also because it is not 1 billion degrees in the middle of the night still. Melbourne is, I'm sure a lot of cities say this, but in Australia, Melbourne is the city where if you don't like the weather, it will change. And yesterday was disgustingly humid, and today it's kind of okay, so I've been trying to get the house to a reasonable temperature. Yeah, Melbourne has been having a bit of an interesting time. Gonna start off with some bit of life update. We had a little bit of a lockdown that we went through. So luckily, the virus is... we don't have community transmission currently in Melbourne. But we have a system of hotel quarantine, so anyone coming into the country and anyone moving between the states in the country has to go into quarantine. I believe you don't have to go into a hotel if you're moving between states, but I haven't gone interstate since Easter last year, so I don't know. Yeah, so there was a worker at one of the hotels who tested positive. They found it was the new, rather virulent form of it, and our government made the decision that because of the lower latency time between infection and being able to transmit it, any kind of time it takes to do contact tracing doesn't work. So whole city, 5 days, you're in the equivalent of what we had as the strictest lockdown we had last year, which our city, like, there's definitely some people who are against it, because some people, you know, think this is politics when it's not. Our city is pretty kind of keen to get on board with that and follow along with that kind of thing. We had a second wave come in after a similar breach in our hotel quarantine, because these things happen. Don't go into that in the comments, please. It's a whole thing. But yeah, we had a second wave. We apparently are the only place in the world that got rid of our second wave of infections. Anyway, this is Flosstube. Let's stop talking about that. Anyway, life update. Tiny little bit had to suddenly stay at home for 5 days last week, and that was a bit difficult because that was when my work, I work at a small company that we were launching a new product that was to be launched on Monday, so I had to do that from home at no notice. Yeah, anyway, I really kind of love it when Flosstubers share their mug. This is my... I decided I was going to bring on my favourite mug. It's my go-to. It's the one that's, if it's clean, I will have it. It is from Ginger Fox, and it's called Foul Language. So it's covered in birds. We have the red-billed oxpecker, the bearded tit, the cock of the rock, the woodcock, and this one is for cross-stitch power hour, the blue-footed boogie. And when you finish your drink, there is, I'm not going to show it because there's liquid in here currently, at the bottom is just a bird that's saying tit. And it's all okay, YouTube, because they're birds. As for what I'm drinking, It's not tea. That's really good. Yeah. FFOs. So, general structure of Flosstubes I've noticed is you go through most complete things to least complete things, being things you have not done yet, and as in your plans. So, since I last saw you, I had a project that was a plan, then a start, then a whip, then a finish, and then a final finish object. I absolutely started and finished, sapped a entire project since I last saw you. Not only with that, this was my first time not stitching on Ada. I did the paper crane stitches. Forever would never. I actually never had that much of a problem with that, apparently on camera. People can't say it on camera. So I did the Forever, let's put it nicely in frame. Forever would never be long enough. And the reason people loved this was Paper Crane Stitcher, she did 3 different versions of the wording. I chose this one not only because it was the shortest, but because I just really like the poetry in it. I think I just liked it lyrically a bit more. And she did 3 different combinations of the pairing at the top. So I have the female and a male, but there was a female and female, and a male and male. And I decided to do this because I am in a heterosexual relationship. That sounds dull coming out of my mouth, but I'm a normie. At least in that way. I'm weird in other ways. And I added in my initials and my husband's initials. And then in very teeny tiny, because I did it over 1 for the lettering, I did the year we started dating, 2009. That 9 is a little bit funky, but we're going to ignore it. And the year we got married, which was 2018, in September. We did date for a while. To be fair, I was 16 when I met him, so it would have been weird if we got married much earlier. But yeah, this was also my first ever final finished object in a cross stitch. My baby, as a baby cross stitcher, I am growing, I'm maturing. I had this frame that I picked up. I wouldn't call it a $2 store, because $2 stores have a particular aesthetic that I think of. This was what I would call they found it fallen off the back of a truck store. They had, like, billy bookcases around the sides, and they had the most random things. I went there before Christmas this year, and I actually bought a diamond painting kit, which was, I'm starting to realize, not the best quality diamond painting. I may show it on the channel at some point. Let me know if you're interested for that. This is going to be very interesting to see if I can edit things, because I don't take breaths to put cuts in. And a brief cut, because I realize I have a very sensitive microphone and I'd left the fan on. And I'm not going to re-record that. I don't have time for that. But yeah, I bought this at a very shady shop that had, I got 2 of these frames for, like, I think $1 each. Crazy cheap. So I ended up, it was actually my first experience lacing, and I can show you this. You see it like this, and then, god damn it, movie magic. This was my first attempt at lacing. I may have gone a little overboard. I really hope that's some good ASMR. But I feel like I learnt a lot. Literally halfway through lacing this, I changed up my technique, and I think I made improvements. And I definitely learnt that it's not all about just get it as tight as you can, because I definitely, like, feel like it's not quite as even as it could be, but yeah, I learned it. This thing was determined to give me trouble. I had, if you have a look here, you'll see it's a slightly different colour. That's because I had a bit of inherited floss on a bobbin that said it was 815. I am not convinced it was 815. It might have been from a 10-year-old dye lot maybe. But so these top 2 little doodads and half of the, like, the top half of the the vine are in a slightly different colour. I also ran out of 815 for, I'd say, about 15 stitches here. And as I said, we were in a lockdown. I couldn't go anywhere, and I was determined to have this finished for Valentine's Day on Sunday. So I had some, I believe it was 14 and 816, so the shade above and the shade below in the DMC tends to do like 3 colour ranges. And I actually blended the threads, and except from deeply close up, it looks the same. And to be fair, close up, it looks kind of better. So yeah, moving on from that. Another sip from my mug. But I'm not done for finishes. That was finish number 1. That was FFO. But it was finish number 1. This is finish number 2. I finished her! Look at her! She's so pretty! Ah! I have not ironed her because I had things today that I decided were more important than ironing, which is most of the time. I just powered through this one. I didn't really have a compulsion to stitch on pretty much anything else apart from these 2 objects this week. These 2 weeks, actually. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think I learnt a lot going through that, and I have some plans to finish her off properly as an object. I have a slightly smaller hoop than what I worked on her on, that I'm going to paint a metallic gold, so that there's just sort of that modern art style to it. You say modern art, there's a specific style of art that I think of as modern art, but then there's modern art, which is something else, and it gets confusing. Same with modern music. The modern music is a very specific thing, and same with classical music. The classical period is a very particular period of music. In case you've noticed, I have opinions on music, and apparently now I talk like Hannah Gatsby. Anyway, I finished her off, and I was getting a bit not so excited about it, and then I just pushed through, and it's like, no, I've got like 400 stitches left to do in her. I've put all this time in, I'm gonna finish her, gonna get her done, and then I took out those, the bright red, Goodman threads I had in for the thread marking, and as soon as I did, it just transformed into this other object that I loved so much. And I'm really excited about that. This was from the Woman series by Easy Sit Studio on Instagram, and I can add in the picture of the group I got her from, and that brings me quite neatly into WIPs, Works in Progress. So I've decided I'm going to do the other 3 in that series of 4 as concurrent WIPs, as like their own singular WIP, because I like them as a trifecta. This one is actually full coverage across the circle, and this was about 100 stitches across, so it's dense. That's a lot to do. That's like I think it split the pattern over 4 pages, even though it was a circle. So I have started off on this one. And I actually outlined, I did the 310 black first, and I've just started, because it is really color blocky, I do use Pattern Keeper on this, and I don't want to keep referring back to it while I'm trying to watch something on TV or talk to my husband. So I've outlined the color block. I took the time and outlined it all in 10 stitches. So just the bottom leg of the cross stitch, and then I can just fill in from side to side. I know you can outline in full crosses, but I didn't need to, and this took literally half the time. I've also started this one, and I'm going to put this here. Hopefully you can guess from that image there which one this is, because currently I can't remember. And the third one of those final 3 I have not done yet. Also in work in progress, I have the bookmark of spite, which I was FFOing things, so I had the ironing board out, I had the felts out, so I FFO'd it with the stuff that came with the kit. So it came with this tassel, which it's not a nice tassel. Like I said, this is a spite finish, and I have The instructions were to just stitch the felt on, but I did have some of the, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically fusible fabric that doesn't have any fabric on it. So you can fuse it to your felt and then peel off the paper, and then the felt is now fusible felt, and I fused that onto there. So it is pretty good, but I am still just doing some backstitch along the outside. And then this will be done, and I have to figure out what book it will live in. After whips, we come to haul, which I have a small haul. I kind of used it as an opportunity to try and explore things this fortnight. There will be a bigger haul coming, because I made some purchases, specifically some from Colour and Cotton and from JK's cross-stitch supplies. There's an Australian cross-stitch supply company that has the cheapest DMC thread, so that's where I ordered it from. And I ordered some other stuff because they had some cool stuff. But that was to kit up some future planned products. And future planned products? Future planned projects. That is hard to say. But yeah, that was to kit up some future things. Also because I had heard about a lot of Flosstubers talking about supply issues when it comes to getting fabrics. So I wanted to make sure I had as much of a lead time in that as possible. What I did do is, while I was out and about a bit today, I started trying to find a bit of a local needle workshop, somewhere I could go in person, even though it's going to be more expensive than what I'll find online. It's important to support these spaces as communal spaces and to keep institutional knowledge of these amazing stitches around. I saw one woman, I believe she's the owner of the shop, or at least she runs it, at Cross Stitch and More in Ferntree Gully, and she had this beautiful piece she showed me of I think it was a mirabilia. It looked like a mirabilia. Not my taste to stitch at all, but this is the first time I'd ever seen one in person, and my god, those things are stunning. I see why y'all get really into it. From there, because I did get some Flosstube glue, which I love because I hate hemming fabric. I don't have a working sewing machine at the moment, and blanket stitching is a pain. I also got crinkle needles, because I have oily hands and oily face, and it's something I will live with for my whole life. And yeah, so I got the Peacemaker's tapestry needles in the 24, 26, and 28 sizes. I tend to stitch with 26s, I find, but I wanted to sort of have a bit of variety to try out with, especially as some of the fabrics I've ordered are at smaller counts. And I did get an extra packet of the 26s, which is currently in my notions bag I use. And I also got, as a little bit of a treat, because they were not cheap, this from the Cottage Garden Threads. These gorgeous guys. It's coming up a little... Actually, no, that's coming up pretty true. But it's this beautiful... It's the colour Kangaroo Paw, which is a plant in Australia. And it's this gorgeous red colour. And I got three skeins of it. And they're not small. They're 10 meters. So that's over 10 yards. I don't remember what's bigger, a meter or a yard, but these are 10 meters. So that's a lot of floss. And it's just this beautiful red... I don't want to go in any further than that. Otherwise... Oh, whoa, no, that's not right. Otherwise we'll lose the light. But it's this beautiful red into sort of this reddy brown colour. And I have a project for this, but PayPal is being annoying and is not paying the Etsy seller. So I'm not going to talk about it yet, because I want to make sure the Etsy seller is paid. So those were from Cross Stitch and More in Ferntree Gully. One of the other places I went to was in Malvern. I have a business card for them. The Button Shop. This was not really a needlework shop, but they had buttons. They had many, many buttons. If you want buttons. Or also knitting. They have a lot of knitting stuff as well. and a lot of crochet stuff, a lot of finishing things, so a lot of haberdashery. But I was going to an event near this, and I saw there was a place called The Button Shop down the street from where I was, a couple doors down, and I mean, I had to go there. So they did have some DMC. Their DMC was sorted by color and mixed in with the anchor threads. So I have a big spreadsheet I have of my DMC collection, and I have like lists of the DMCs I want to kit up for things. I managed to find one that I needed, but I needed 4 of them. So I got 4 kinds of this, and like I said, I want to support local shops, so if they have something I need, I'm going to buy it. And this is color 3846. One of them I have already bobbinated, so it's in my stash of bobbinated stuff, and this is in my extras. It is a gorgeous sky blue color. That's going in my On the Beach that I talked about last time by Stitch Rovia, who I found out recently is going to be in one of the Black Needle Society boxes, which I can't get because they're sold out. I also got some 310, because you always need 310, and a Clover needle threader. So this is actually a proper, like, cut metal, like stamped metal, as opposed to the wire needle threaders, because I break them constantly, and I do use a needle threader. I have some minor dexterity issues, so it makes my life infinitely easier. And this has been an absolute go-to, and it's got a little hole in it, so I'm gonna need to find a fob for this guy. I think you can't have a hole like that and be in the stitching world and not have a fob. I have nothing fobbed. My scissors are not fobbed. My notions case, its zipper goes unfobbed. My work bags are unfobbed. This is something I'll have to think about. And like I said, all of the sort of minor little bits of shopping I did were to sort of explore and get to know my local space in Melbourne of cross-stitch, and I had a little bit of time to kill while I was waiting for something at the pharmacy, and I went to the newsagent, to the post office, and got cross-stitching. Oh, sorry, The World of Cross-Stitching, which has a big old fairy on the front. Not my thing. But I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Let's try it out. It's a British magazine. There wasn't really anything in this that wowed me. I'm a little bit on it. But it wasn't super expensive. A lot of it is pretty outdated. It's sort of the point of a magazine that I felt the best looking patterns in it were ads to buy other patterns. But if you're into it, like, that's kind of nice. There's no pattern on that, no. Yeah. That's cute. Actually, that's probably the closest I'd get. And they have, like, some specialty stitching stuff. A couple, like, fancy alphabets. But things like making little animal cards. If you had little kids in your life, I think that'd be really sweet. But the only, like, little kids I have in my life are very far away in Norway. So if I'm going to send something to them, it's going to be something special, and I have ideas on that. Last little bit of haul, I did speak about briefly last time, so it doesn't quite count, but it was more of these Mill Hill kits. I got in the post the Santa with the penguin and the Santa with the leopard seal. Why wouldn't you want a Santa with a leopard seal? They are the coolest seal. I'm just putting shadows on my face. They are the coolest seal. And, naturally, God, camera. I got 2 of each. One to give away to my parents, one to keep for me. And that kind of brings me into plans. As I said, I have got some haul coming, in terms of kitting up things. So, I don't really... It's kitting up things. Is that really haul? But I will show it off, because there was some just purchasing because it needed to be purchased, because it looked pretty. The only other bit of plans apart from the women's series that I'm doing right now that I want to talk about is the March bracket stitching that Steel City Stitches do. I kind of finally figured out what that was when they released their video that I watched today, and it looks like a lot of fun. And I was kind of thinking, it's like, I don't have 8 projects. I'm working weirdly monogamously right now. I've got 2 other projects I didn't touch this fortnight, which I can do. But other than that, I don't think I have 8 things to fill out a bracket. And then I realized I have this bag of those Mill Hill kits that I bought on sale. And, I mean, I've not felt like stitching them because it's past Christmas time and it's Australia. It's really hot right now, so stitching little wintry ornaments, even though our summertime does have Christmas in it, wasn't quite what I was feeling. So I had a look, including the 2 I got now and discluding the doubles. I have 7. Which is 1 less than you need to do a bracket. However, this guy came with this guy. And Forever Friends, which is like this, I don't know if it's a single artist or it's an IP. I think they're part of like Hallmark maybe. All on cards. I had it on a Duna set when I was a kid. These very wide bears. They're just wide bears. And it makes it into a little gift card. So I think, the way I understand it, the bracket system, the way I would want to do it is, because the goal is at the end of the month, you have a completely, fully finished object. So you run the bracket at the start of the month, and then by the end of the month, you have like 2 weeks maybe, where you have your winning whip, your winning project to work on and finish. And then you can work on the second place, and then your 2 third and fourth places. So my plan is to spend a day on each of these. And then once I've spent a day, I'm going to put it up on my Instagram, which is @LizTheArtificer. Hopefully, let's see. I hope that worked. I'm going to put it up on my Instagram. And I've gotten so many wonderful comments. I should have said that more at the start. But this has been so fantastic. But for this to work, I do need people to have a look on my Instagram if I am posting polls to vote on which one is going to accelerate forward. So hopefully this works. If I don't get enough or I don't get a clear thing, I'll just pick the one I enjoyed more. Yeah. So that is all of my plans. And I've kept the recording to half an hour, so hopefully when it's cut down, this is like a solid 20-minute Flosstube. It's barely an episode of Scrubs. It's whiskey in the cup, if you hadn't figured it out. I feel like I have to do the YouTube thing of saying, like, share and subscribe. I mean, that'd be really nice. I'm sure liking does mean things, but definitely comment. Oh my goodness, I loved getting all of those comments. I still have some to reply to, but all of y'all are just so nice. Come talk to me on Instagram. Show me your stitching. Bye. Brief addendum from Editing Liz, as you can tell by the fancy headset. As you may have been able to tell from that video which was filmed a week ago, I was not too jazzed on having that Forever Friends piece in my, what I've decided to call my Merry March matchups, because they're all ornaments. I'm very clever that way. But I've decided to sub it in instead. I have, after all that discussion of things going unfobbed in my life, it's a heart-shaped scissor fob from Modern Folk Embroidery, which you will find out later that I have become a bit of a Modern Folk Embroidery, not obsessed, that's not the word. I bought a few of their patterns and have started several of them, if you've seen on my Instagram. I will not be doing it at all in this colour. I will be doing it on this fabric with this floss. So if you want to make sure I work on this and you get to see some progress and what this will look like, because I'm not going to tell you any more about it, come over to my Instagram, and as you'll see now, right in front of my face, this is the bracket I will be doing. Each of these I'll be working on for 1 hour each day. I will try and find an hour to work on it because I do not want to take a Mill Hill kit to work if I can help it. And then post pictures up on my Instagram and put a poll in the stories. Come vote for them. And if I see you voted for mine, I'll go check out your stories and see if there's one for you. Anyway, I will see you guys soon with a big update on how everything's going. I'll have a billion starts to show you. Everyone have a good week and take care of yourselves and bye. Bye.